Let's get it on then, shall we? Mwah. Welcome to Sex on the Peach, your weekly hump day dose of everyone's favourite untalked about topic, sex. Let's get honest, let's get open, let's get comfortable, and let's get in to this week's show. Happy hump day, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Sex on the Peach. I'm your host, Peach, and today we have quite a heavy conversation as I'm joined by my friend Sam Cassidy to discuss the effects that a drug and alcohol addiction can have on your sex and love life. This episode comes with trigger warnings of addiction and substance abuse and also contains mentions of suicide, so please do take that into consideration before listening today. Sam and I discuss his journey into sobriety, how it feels to experience intimacy sober, our feelings on society and toxic masculinity, and as always, we answer some of your questions. So, let's get into it. Here is sex, no drugs, and rock and roll. Sam, thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of Sex on the Peach. I know that it's an extremely vulnerable topic to speak about, but it is the quickest I have ever received questions on an episode, which hopefully highlights how many people may be struggling with this in one facet or another.
No pressure then.
No, there's no pressure. There's no pressure. Listen, everyone's experience is valid. Absolutely no pressure whatsoever. My first question is, how long have you been sober now?
Well, I've been sober now for 3 years. Mm-hmm. I was 3 years on December 2nd.
Almost 3 years exactly.
Yeah, almost 3 years exactly. And it's one of the reasons why I thought, I'll do this now. You know, it's a good moment to do it, to have a chat. I'll tell you a little bit about that part of it, just so there's some context. Before I got sober, alcoholism and drug addiction crept up on me massively in a time where things were going really well in my life. Mm-hmm. Everything was great, career-wise and relationship-wise, everything was there. And I just got heavier and heavier into drugs until eventually, whenever I went out to be alone, if that makes sense, because I could just get so off my head that no one mattered. I wasn't there anywhere until eventually I just didn't go out at all. And I was just isolated. And I always said I was this tortured artist, kind of, writing genius and all this. I wasn't. I was just a mess. And in the end, it just got really bad. And luckily, I had some amazing people who sort of caught me before my, massive fall and just said, look, you need help. And I got help and I got sober, and it was the best thing I ever did, which is good because my life is back on track and all good things are happening again. And that's, that's the best part. But more importantly, I wake up happy now, which I didn't do for a long time. That's the backstory of sobriety part of it. But this is called Sex on the Peach, so this is about something else.
No, but I mean, it all encompasses itself, doesn't it? How was it sort of making the drastic? Did you literally go from everything to nothing, like a drastic switch?
Yeah, I'm part of a program which is complete abstinence. That's what it is. And the reason why is because with addiction, your mind becomes your biggest enemy because all it wants you to do is keep numbing, keep going. So you'll find a way to navigate the world and make choices and to control the situation. Like if I just drink this on this day, I'll be fine. If I only go out weekends, I'll do this, I'll do that. And you keep trying to navigate, but you end up just crashing and burning, going into a cycle of just repeating horrendous mistakes, blackouts, can't remember, things going wrong. And you keep trying to navigate, keep trying to control. Going, oh shit, so I've lost that. The girlfriend's gone. Oh God, I've lost that contract. I'm fired from that job. But you keep trying to navigate so you don't have to change the one thing that it is, which is, your substance abuse. And then what happens is you get to a point where you got nothing, you're at your lowest ebb, and you basically surrender and stop listening to your own brain because it's not on your side. And you go, I can't do this anymore. I need help. And you just surrender, you give it all up. Yeah. And that's what I did. It was a big step. I call him a coach. It's a sponsor, but he's a wonderful, wonderful man who I'd known for many years who sat me down, or I went to go see, and sat me down and said, you had enough yet? And I just broke down. I went, yeah, I'm done. He was like, all right, it's fine. He goes, okay, you've tried your life one way and it's not working for you, is it? And I was like, nope. He goes, would you like to try another way? And if that doesn't work, he goes, you can always go back. And I went, okay, I'll try something else. 3 years later, still trying it. So it worked out. But of course, a lot of, what this subject matter will be about is, which is, I know a lot of the questions were about, is obviously what a big part of my addiction and drink and drugs was sex.
Yeah,
because it's another high. And I'll use the word wild because that's a nicer word than an absolute state of a person. Even when I was in a relationship for a long time, and then after that relationship, I hadn't had sex or had any intimacy sober for years.
Yeah.
And that didn't dawn on me until the first time I tried to be intimate with someone sober.
Sure. And how was that?
Well, do you know what? I'm very, very fortunate because, just a little backstory, which is another thing, not to bring it down dark, but on my rock bottom, I was very near suicidal levels. I was in that place. I wasn't reaching out to anyone. I didn't want to. I just wanted to go. And a very good friend of mine came round. She knew there was something wrong.
Sure.
She turned up at my house at 11 in the morning. I hadn't gone to sleep. And I broke down and cried. Anyway, my sobriety journey started, and that girl then became my girlfriend. Her name is Kelly Nork, and she's quite wonderful. She was great. And of course, we were friends before, and she wouldn't have, her words, touched me with a barge pole beforehand. I was always, when I was off my head, like, maybe we do want to. And she was like, absolutely not. I like you, you're my friend. You have the worst reputation. You are a fucking mess. I was like, never in a million years. And I was like, all right then. Which of course made me want to know more.
Of course it did.
Of course I did. I was like, I can't have her. Well, then that's it. But then, of course, getting sober, and we got, very close, and then we started seeing each other. But yeah, moving into the intimacy stage was really hard for me.
Yeah.
And there is a thing which I think it's not discussed about. And of course, I had a lot of conversations with other people in recovery saying, this is a thing for everyone. I was like, yeah, this is a huge thing.
I'm sure.
I was saying we live in a society where, as we're coming of sexual maturity, we're drinking. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And so the two became entwined as part and parcel. Yeah. I have to have a drink to do this, to have that confidence. And it is a confidence thing because,
inhibitions
at that age, when you're still discovering who you are, what you're about, you're nervous as balls, and you're going out there. Of course, that's how it happens. However, I do find that what has happened is most of us carry on that cycle of drink, sex, relationships all the time. So, and it's a very difficult thing, and it takes a long time in a relationship to find that safe place. Some people never do. And I think some people never do, which is a shame. For me, it was, luckily, me and my partner, we have very open conversation about it. And I said, I can't do this. At the start, I was like, I can't do this. And she was like, is there something
wrong? Or I don't know how to.
Me? Yeah. Is there something wrong with me? And I said, no, not at all. I said, I am so in my head, so in my feelings, in my body. I'm aware of everything. I've never been this present doing this before in my life.
Because there was nothing else taking your mind elsewhere.
No. And I said, it's not the act of it. I said, I've done some pretty, wild and crazy things. I said, sometimes there was more women and stuff, which is just what she wanted to hear, of course. I told her she's very cool. And listen, going, okay, I'm going to ignore that one.
Well, listen, everyone who comes on here who has a partner, I'm like, props to the partner for it, because it's security. And I commend the partners who let their partners come on here and talk to me.
Well, my partner is a specific G, because as I had the conversation saying that I don't know how to do this, I am so, and it made me feel, the worst thing is emasculated.
Sure.
That's not real. That's not a real thing. We'll get into that later. Feeling emasculated, what it is to be a man, what it is to be a man in any sexual environment is lies. These are all lies.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll get to that in a minute, because I told her everything. I said, I feel uneasy and all this stuff. And she went, okay, fine. Do you want to go on a date? And I was like, okay. So we went out on a date one night, and we went to it. She doesn't drink, by the way. She just doesn't like drinking.
Sure.
We went on a date. We went out for food, and we were at the restaurant, and she ordered 2 porn star martinis. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? I can't have one of those. And 2, I'd never drink a porn star martini. That's, just pure sugar. And she was like, no, they're both for me.
Pure sugar. Like, I love the sugar.
I did enough cocaine to kill a small horse. And yet I'm like, I can't have that. There's sugar in it. But she ordered 2 drinks, and I was like, what are you doing? She was like, you can't be in that mindset. She goes, but maybe if you feel a little bit like I am, that I'm not so aware, you might feel better. There is a dark undertone of that, by the way, that I went, yeah, that works. Sure. Which we will not go into the Freudian elements now, but it was, yeah, if she's less aware. And I was just like, that sounds fucked up. I was like, Kelly, that sounds really bad of me. She was like, no. She goes, because I'm giving you my permission.
I was going to say she was doing it consensually.
Yeah, I'm giving you my permission at all. She goes, I'm not going to be blackout drunk, am I? It's 2 drinks. She goes, it's just almost a placebo effect to make you feel like you don't have to be so aware. Anyway, sure. I was so just happy and elated that she was so willing to go through that. But from that point on, it really helped. But, I learned the main thing is the biggest thing I learned from that is the fact that sex is not the be all and end all. You know this, when you're talking about the sex thing, intimacy comes in so many different
100%
colors. And me and Kelly have the most wonderfully intimate relationship in every possible way, down from messages to cuddling and holding hands. But it's important. These levels are so important of intimacy, which helps where we are. And now all I can say is having a sexual relationship sober is awesome, because there are no barriers. There is no hiding behind anything. I'm entirely there. I'm entirely in my body, and I'm entirely aware of every move, every motion, and it's mental. Sense alone, and just rhythms and all that stuff is so different. Things that I wouldn't have noticed when I was off my head, because
just the awareness.
I was only half there. It was just, that was the weirdest thing about it. And just going back to the thing that I said I'd go back to, they did a survey a couple of years back in America with female sex workers, saying what the weirdest things that guys have come to you for. And across the board, they said, there's some people want weird stuff. He goes, but the number one thing we get asked for is just men coming in just asking to be held or to talk. That's the number one thing that men pay for from sex workers, is just being held or talking. And there is this silent pandemic of men re-navigating a world that has changed overnight. Of what it is to be a man, because that's not what it is to be a man anymore. That's not what it is. And some people find that quite easy. Some people welcome it. But a lot of men, it's been a paradigm shift. You only have to look at the likes of the fact that people like Andrew Tate are getting followers. If they give them the easy answer, which goes, is that nothing wrong with you, mate? Because what it is women should be submissive. That's it. Of course they should. That's an easy answer. Not that I have to take any, sense of responsibility of my own emotions. Do you know what? I can keep them cold, keep them cut off, be hard as nails. And I was like, it's women's fault. And I think we're in a dangerous place right now, where people are going, because of the change, people either doing the work, doing the self-reflection, learning what they are to be a man, getting healthier emotionally for it, or going the other way and fighting against it. I saw a thing that came up the other day, and there's some guys I know shared it about, being offended by the term toxic masculinity, saying, can we stop saying toxic masculinity? Because, there's no such thing as masculinity. I was like, no, there is. Don't think of it as it's a thing that women are using as a weapon against men. It's a status quo that we have been fed since we were young boys, that some of us are still living up to and trying to do it, saying, this is what a woman should be. This is what a man should be. This is how sex should be. I learned it from porn. It can't be wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. Goes, if she doesn't like me, rather than take it upon myself and do any kind of reflection, fuck her, she's the whore. It's that. Back me up, guys. And it's that you see a lot of this, rather than going, okay, what are these toxic traits? What are these things that we can start breaking down?
I say a lot just in general on most episodes, really, that I try not to blame, because most of it is what people have been brought up to believe, and it takes some undoing to sort of renegotiate in your head all the things that have been ingrained in us. But I do think there is a level of, there's no excuse now not to be trying to learn differently, because we have so many resources to do so. So, it's really difficult, because my entire ethos is I want to be able to create a space where anyone from any demographic can speak and feel comfortable to do so. And, as I've said to you, you've been the first male who identifies as straight, who is cisgender, who has agreed to come on this podcast. And yet so many people are like, oh, well, are you going to have any straight men coming on and talk? And I'm like, do you want to, do you want to send me someone who does? Because people in that demographic don't want to come on and speak openly about sex. And like straight cis men are sort of go out and fuck. You know what I mean? Go out and fuck everything, but don't talk about it.
I think it's worse than that. I think it's that they don't want to come on and have any of their views challenged. That's the main thing, guys. You know, they don't want to come on a program to talk to a woman and have what they have learned, their comfort zone, challenged.
They're like, no, this is good sex. I'm giving people good sex. Don't tell me different.
The massive thing that happened, which I was so aware of in just people I knew, is the whole Me Too movement was an eye-opener because the bar moved, because the bar was here. The bar was there. It goes, yeah, you know, that's wrong. People do that. You know, that's rape. That's horrendous. That's terrible. Yeah. Actually, the bar's here. And it's these things. It's catcalling. It's, you know, saying, you know, give us a smile. It's down to, you know, the friendly, the nice guy who, if a girl doesn't want to be with him, it's her problem because I'm the nice guy. What's your problem? Do you know what I mean? It's all these elements of gaslighting and bullying. And I know a load of guys went, oh shit, I'm there. I've already passed the line. I've already done these things. And instead of taking accountability of themselves, going, right, I need to change then these things within me, they doubled down. They just went, oh, this bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. That's what it is. Oh God, this guy's gone mad. It's PC gone mad. Oh God. Because it's guilt and it's shame.
Yeah.
And I will put my hand on my heart. And when that bar moved, I went, yeah, I hit a lot of those.
Sure.
A lot of those things. And I have tried I haven't written letters and stuff like that, but when I've met up with some of the women that I may have been intimate with over the years and I've met them, I've apologized.
Yeah.
I have apologized to them and said, by the way, do you remember that night? I'm sorry if at any point I made you feel this way. I'm sorry if when I didn't call you, I'm sorry if I did this. I said, basically at the time it was this, whatever. I have no excuse. I'm just cleaning my side of the road. I'm sorry. Now, I don't expect every man in the world to do that, but it's starting from there. It's starting
Take
from
some accountability.
The equilibrium has changed. And I promise, and the worst thing is, I think, you know, if any men are listening to this, they're going to think, you know, oh God, you know, this is another woke nonsense and stuff. When I tell you the weight that is lifted off your shoulders when you start to unpick the things that you didn't know you've been taught, it's like something opens a whole world. I think the biggest shame is the fact that you have to be an addict, an alcoholic, and at the worst possible, lowest moment of your life to start what I enrolled in, to join the programs that I have. Yeah. Because in these rooms, in these meeting other people, I have seen 45-year-old, big, burly, born and bred East London men tattooed up, breaking down and crying because they don't know how to communicate or how to be a better father, saying, I don't know how to be any other way, you know, it's just how it comes out. And you watch just the relief coming off of men not having to carry the bravado anymore. It's heavy. Just let it go. Let it go.
Before you were with Kelly, for anyone listening, Sam and I've known each other a long time, but you had, I guess we'd say 2 other long-term relationships.
First girlfriend, you know, no one ever, you know, that's you growing up, you're learning different things. But then I did go out with a girl who's a friend of yours for on and off for 7 years. And, you know, looking back on that now, I was 21 upwards. I would have looked back at the time, I thought I was a lovely boyfriend, but actually it was horrendous. I was horrendous, very self-centered, very out for myself, you know, through all that period of time. I wasn't a good boyfriend. I wasn't a good man. And I broke up with this girlfriend several times, you know, because I wasn't happy, because I wanted to have sex with other women, you know, because I was 25 and I wanted to do that. But then keeping her always there because I did, you know, love her. And whereas you might be able to say, what a cuntish, you know, bastard thing to do. I was confused with, but my body wants me to have sex with, but I do love this woman. But I want to do that. I want everything. You know, I had no state of responsibility. It was a weak part of growing up and being a man doing that. You know, my second relationship, that was a healthier relationship, but then it got complicated at the end because of my drinking drugs. Do you know what I mean? That was on me. I mean, we both had problems, but I was the bigger problem. It began to affect her life because I was just lying and whatnot and just a mess. And then by the end, in the last year of our relationship, I wasn't there. I wasn't there mentally. Right. That was hard. That was hard. I was gone. There was no partner. I wasn't even there. Do you know what I mean?
Were there ever days where you didn't drink or take a substance of some sort, or did it sort of become a daily requirement?
So it's a cycle. So what happens is the weekend or something, you're your night out, where other people would say, they'd finish at 12:30. I never did. I'd go on to an after party or whatever, and then, end up going home feeling, then party back at my house or something like that, and then feel like shit the next day, recover. Then about the day after that, Thursday will come, you do it again, you get into that cycle. But what happens is you find different levels of people, because as one level becomes too tame, and they won't go to the depths that you will.
The next level. You
find people at those depths, and then they become that level of, they're the people that you are with till, 4 or 5 in the morning on a kitchen floor. And, there's a level of friendship there and camaraderie, but it's drugs that's holding you together. Sure. It's drugs that's holding you there. And then what really happens after that, there's a level after that, which is there's the after party of the after party, the after party. And then suddenly you find yourself, and it's weird, in crack houses with no one at all, just thinking, where am I? And I've been here for 3 days. And you don't know,
okay.
And you no one, you haven't answered your phone, and then bang, come out, you try and straighten your life back up, quick, do everything, make the phone calls, do apologies, I'm fine, it's all right, eat healthy, green juices, go to the gym, see people, and then you do it again. And it was that. And by the end, you stop trying to negotiate out of that cycle. You just either become that cycle, you just say, that's it, I'm doing this, or you do what I did, and you're so scared of going into it again, you begin to hide from the world. So then I started to just hide myself off, still drinking, still doing drugs, but alone. I was on a big American TV series that was gone. I'd just written, a musical that was gone in the West End, and that was meant to transfer on. That didn't happen. And then instead of working to find the next step, I just went into the hole. I just disappeared. No one knew. It was such a lonely time. No one knew.
Sure.
That's when that girlfriend left me, because she was just like, there's just nothing there. She was working at the time on a TV series, and I didn't visit her on set. She invited me loads of times. She said to come out, see me there. And I didn't bother. Do you know what I mean? The phone calls, I wasn't present at all. So when she left, I was already out. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, and I think at the last minute she was going, I was like, no, wait, where are you going? It only dawned on me that she was actually going. I was like, what's going? Are you leaving?
Just nothing.
Didn't know. And then back to the cycle, back into it. And I don't think she knew, but I don't think she knew the depth that I was going to. Because when she went, I was alone. There was no one to keep tabs on me. I didn't have to phone anyone 3 a.m. There was no phone call at 4 a.m. saying, where the hell are you? Come home. When no one's calling you, no one cares. You can just keep going. That was the worst time. That was, bad time. But everything for a reason. I'm here now.
Do you feel like, I know obviously we always say, and I do believe this, that the most important thing is that we want to change for ourselves.
Yeah.
But do you think that Kelly was partly a catalyst?
No, Kelly wasn't a catalyst in the slightest.
Okay.
You don't get sober for anyone else. That is a big question that should be answered for anybody.
Yeah, I don't think you should, but I know sometimes people try to.
Oh, they try. It doesn't work. So anybody whose question is, oh, my partner's this or whatever, if you think your partner has an issue, problem or whatever, no one can do it for anyone else. Fact.
Yeah.
I couldn't get sober for all the things I'd worked hard for that I thought I wanted. This is a terrible story, I'm going to tell you now. When I had the opening press night of my show which was going on, I'd written a show. No one knows this story. And it was going on in the other palace, and there was producers there that I was meant to meet on that press night after the show. And I was getting phone calls from my director just saying, where are you? She was messaging me going, so-and-so's here to meet you. Where are you? And I was like, I'm just dealing with stuff, backstage, sorting stuff out. I wasn't. I was actually around the corner waiting for a drug dealer to turn up to bring me coke, because even though it was an exciting, elated time of my life, I was like, well, I need to add. It can only enhance
the feeling wasn't enough.
Yeah, I can only enhance it. And I don't know how many of those producers and people I must have spoken to like that. Yeah, hey, how you doing? And they must have turned around and gone, yeah, stay away from that guy. I only knew later, when there was no emails and no phone calls later and stuff. And people who were like, yeah, he's great, we should meet up. Just suddenly went, oh, maybe not. That was a mistake. So yeah, it doesn't matter what you've got. You will not get sober for anything
than just wanting to for yourself.
Someone offered you £1 billion and you go, yeah, of course. You wouldn't do it. You can't do it. What brings on sobriety, what brings on that moment is rock bottom. I've hit what should have been rock bottoms 3 or 4 times.
Sure.
My rock bottom was just me on my kitchen floor with a shitload of drugs, which I'd stolen from someone else's house, a bottle of honey Jack Daniels whiskey, the worst, which I'd stolen from the bar I worked in. Sorry if they're listening to this, they don't know. Hoping it was enough to, give me a heart attack, and it wasn't. Just sat there on the floor, just gone, just like that. Just going through the motions, just at a loss. And that's what it takes. If anyone it gets to that point. So if anyone is worried about somebody who may have a problem or whatever, you've got to wait until they get to that point. And when they do, point them into it. There is help. Talk to me. Even if I don't know you, message me. Be like, I think I need help. And I'll tell you where to go and who to talk to.
When you hit that rock bottom, I think for some people there is still like just that tiny bit of awareness. Because I mean, I've been open about this before on social media. As you know, I am someone who a lot of people might consider a bit of a party girl, but I've never taken drugs. I've smoked weed and had a hash brownie in Amsterdam, but I've never taken anything other than that because my stepbrother was a drug addict, fully addicted to everything, heroin, I don't even really know. I can't even name all the drugs. I don't know them. I'm so not clued up about them whatsoever. And he was 19 years old and jumped in front of a train. And it was such a strange thing because if you're jumping in front of a train, that's not a cry for help. You want to go.
No, yeah.
I think that rock bottom, you want to find people where they still have that tiny bit of awareness that there is help to be had. And I think that's key.
Oh, gotcha. It's only in that moment is the last ray of hope. It's the last thing. I mean, by the end, the only reason I never did heroin is because it was always that thing, don't do heroin. It's because no one offered me. And that's the truth.
Okay.
And that was a really weird thing to get into my head. I was like, why didn't you heroin? No one offered me it.
Right.
I never came across it. There were always those drugs you just don't do. You don't do crack. It's massively addictive. You don't do heroin. And then suddenly you go, oh shit, I've done that one. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that one again. It's like, so when will I do that one? It was bad.
And I think, as with any addiction, you just keep, like you said, you just keep going to the next step. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, I'm used to that hit now. So now I have to try this and see if that's going to be better and take more. And
it's only an elevator that goes down. And this is the thing. And this is what there's a saying, it's an elevator that goes down. You can get off the elevator at any floor. But if you get back on it, you'll only go down. There's no going up again. So there's no... And I think a lot of people do a dance with sobriety who've got problems, which is they think they haven't got a problem because they can white knuckle it for 3 months, maybe even longer. And they go, yeah, I haven't had a drink for 3 months or whatever. And they can do that. And then as soon as it is, bang, it's back on. The case is it's different for everyone. You don't have to be doing copious amounts of drugs. If you're just using alcohol medicinally, if you're just using it to be something else, someone else, that's what it is.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. I think a lot more people have issues with drugs and with even a small level of alcoholism, but they don't want to call it that. They don't want to admit it could be something that needs that label. People say, oh, but I'm high functioning. So,
oh God, I was high functioning. That was my main thing. I was the epitome of a middle class drug addict, which is, there are so many of them where it's just because you're not homeless. Mm-hmm. That's circumstance, that's privilege that allowed me to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If the people I loved had turned their backs on me, I could have gone further. I could have gone entirely. And that's why I think a lot of middle class, drug habits, addictions, and people who've got issues goes unnoticed because they're high functioning. They're still going. Yeah. Like I said, I used to work in a bar, and on a Thursday night, it was eye opening. They come in, full of beans and life, and they're all that stuff. You watch by about 2 o'clock in the morning when they've done their 2 grams of coke, they're either fighting, crying, being sick, an absolute drooling mess. I was like, this is not normal. That is not, what are you escaping from? What is it that's getting you? Because none of this is normal. That is not normal behavior. And we live in a society that has made that normal.
Was your main take from it that it was an escape?
It was to be alone. I didn't want to be with myself. There wasn't anyone else. I had a lot of voices going on in my head, and they were all very loud and very negative. None of them liked me. But one voice did like me that would come out when I was on drugs, and it would tell me I was great and I was fine and I was tough, and all the other voices would go away. So I do drugs to just be that in my head. Nothing else mattered. If you think you might have a confidence issues or problem with that stuff, next time you go out, don't drink. Just try for a night. Don't drink and see how you fare. See how you are in that situation. See how you are around people. And I think most people go, oh my God, I've never done this.
Yeah.
And then really take a good look and hard look at yourself and go, why is that? What am I hiding from? What am I running from? Why am I not enough? Why am I not comfortable in my own skin? Why do I need drinks to talk to her? Why do I need several drinks to hang around the lads? Why do men get together and drink enough so that they can have maybe this much of an emotional conversation, but then write it off the next day as drunken chat.
Yeah, drunk, deeper, meaningful.
Drunk, deeper, meaningful. I must do this just so I can say this.
Sometimes I think people are having sex because they're drunk. Do you feel like your sex drive specifically is different?
I think, yeah, your sex drive becomes different because I'm not as sexually wild as I thought I was.
Right.
Because before I was very open to everything. And I do all these things, but it was just to feel something and just to be anything. And I did some sex parties and stuff, which I was working at or whatever. And you end up having sex with loads of women and you never feel better about it. I felt empty by the end. I was like, what is this? Sure. Got sober and realized I was none of these things.
Yeah. Okay.
That was.
You're like, these aren't actually my sexual wants and desires.
Yeah, I don't want any of this. I was like, what was I doing? It was sexual. It was a form of self-harm. It's a form to feel something.
Yeah.
To feel alive. Once you've done drink and drugs, now what? Sex is the next one in. I need to feel something.
I mean, I think one of my closest sort of connections to anything like that. I mean, I've definitely been someone who's been drunk and had sex. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in my life. I did have a relationship with a partner who was abusive, but before he'd sort of turned abusive, we sort of had quite a sort of BDSM structured relationship. I am open-minded. I'm an open-minded partner. I was happy to explore a lot of things. There were things that went beyond my comfort zone a little bit. And then when it got to a point where if I knew I was going to have to be intimate with him in any way, I'd have to have a drink and I'd have to get out of my head a bit because I sort of had to, for me, it was like, I have to escape myself and feel like you can have my body, but you don't have my mind because that was like all I had, you know what I mean? I was like, I can take myself out of it. Yeah. Obviously now I look back and I'm like, what a shame that's how that was handled.
God,
But it got to a point where it absolutely was a reliance. And I remember like we went away like for a weekend together and I was like, oh, fuck, like I'm going to have to find a way to literally be drunk this entire weekend just to be able to like get through this, like being in like a fucking secluded beach house. And I was like, oh God, I don't know what's going to happen. Like I'm just going to have to like drink my way through it. And that was rough. Like, and I look back being the person who I am now and obviously having worked through my own demons in lots of different capacities, but of what it would have been like to be sober and say no.
The scary thing there is, I think you were drinking because you knew you couldn't say no. That's the alarm bell.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very common story. You'd already decided, I can't get out, so I'll get out of my head because I can't get out physically. It's a big, huge thing that I think is really unspoken about today as well when we talk about abusive relationships to men. And again, this is thing that men oh God, no, is I know so many, but there's people we know together who are in relationships where I'm like, that's an abusive partner. Some guys do it and they call it charm. It's, the charm offensive or whatever. And they don't think they're in the wrong. I see it all the time. I'm like, there's no accountability. There's no accountability. There's no awareness. And it blows my mind. I'm like, you're not aware. Dude, you're an asshole. Like the guy who puts in the groundwork as a friend, who's a lovely guy and then is owed something. That's weak. That is a weak man. That is a man who doesn't take no for an answer because he's so close. I'm so friendly. I'm a nice guy. We should put, the nice guy, the person that I know lots of those guys, and they believe they're on their own pedestal they feel cheated by it. These are self-proclaimed nice guys. I'm a good guy. What's wrong with me? And, women we live in a world where women have had to learn to taper their words, to say the right things, to say, oh, no, you're lovely. It's all that. No. I don't want to be with you.
Yeah, you want to say, you're just awful, please go away.
Yeah. I said no, but the thing is, women don't say that. And so guys are always like, oh God, no means no. Well, I'd hear it, but it was a no. No, because you don't hear it, because women try the nice ways round and round and round, and you're not hearing it because you don't want to hear it.
I mean, listen, both of us have got the body count that we do. But when I look back at that, I sort of wonder...
Should we compare collectively?
No, I think that's all right. We can just say I think we're probably on the higher side of things. But I sort of look back and I think if I had sort of never been someone who'd picked up a drink and I just had never gotten into alcohol in any capacity, how many it would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
God, yeah. Oh, I don't go down that one. I always I think of where I'd be in. I think of how different my life would be, how different things, God forbid the things I wouldn't have done. I was like, who would I have been?
Like I would have slept with 4 people.
Yeah. Because it turns out in sobriety, I found out I like cuddles and films and intimacy. And I was like, God, I'm a very gentle young man. I'm not that young. I think anybody who's listening to this, anybody who's watching, they can answer their own questions if you sit down and really think. Because am I using drinking drugs as a tool to alter who I am so that I can be intimate with people? Then you've got to ask yourself, so what am I hiding from?
Yeah.
Why am I hiding? What am I changing? Why am I not enough here? What am I not doing? Just have that conversation with yourself.
I try and steer away from it language-wise a lot on this podcast, and I'm trying always encourage people not to speak about sex in good or bad terms, and to not say something is good or bad, or that someone is good or bad. You can say something works for you, or, you know, you weren't really compatible. But I think that people feel so much pressure to be good in bed. There's pressure to have a certain type of body. There's pressure to live up to, you know, there's all this Instagram nonsense and all these couples who you'd look at and think, gosh, they probably have sex about 8 times a day, and they're probably having sex, you know, like once every 3 months. We're just surrounded by all this fucking bullshit. And so I just think people probably feel like to go into a first time sexual encounter nowadays, because of all the crap we're fed via social media, it just feels like you as an individual, there's so much pressure on you to be a certain type of way, because if not, they'll just swipe or tick, or then you're off, they're on to the next person, they're shopping for the next person because they might be better in bed, they might have a better body. So I think that people use it to lose all of that and to just not think about it. And I guess weirdly to try and feel a bit more in the moment rather than have your head all in these other spaces of the pressure that there is to perform, which I always tell
think
people
you're dead right. You're dead right. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and it was she said something which is I'd never even thought of it. She was saying, you know, it's all great that, you know, we're in a world with body positivity. Oh, great, you know, love yourself, love the skin you're in, you know, bigger, it's better, and all this kind of stuff. She said, but there is too much in me, too much history built in of self-hatred for me to just suddenly be okay with it.
She's like, of course.
Everyone's saying you should love yourself, girl. And she goes, but I don't. And I'm not going to overnight, because since the age of 14, she goes, I've had eating disorders. She goes, I've always felt bigger than everyone else. So she goes, I'm not going to suddenly just buy a Savage Fenty X bikini and say, you know, I'm great. She goes, there's too much damage there. I'm not just going to take my clothes off in front of a guy and feel great. She goes, so I just don't, you know, I can't get into that. And it's not just because someone says it's all right now, doesn't mean I am. This is what I'm saying about the work that we need to do on ourselves to unpick everything that we have been taught in a society.
How does Kelly feel about talking about your sexual past? Is that something that you sort of discuss, or I know she's a supportive partner and that's really all that matters, but just...
Well, the kind of thing which for Kelly is as much honesty as I can. There was a time that we were once in Freedom together. This is well after I wasn't drinking. I think I was working there and I was singing or something. And I think about 3 girls came up to me and talked and walked past. And Kelly went, have you slept with all 3 of those girls? And I didn't know. I went, yes, I have. But I needed to have that honesty because I didn't want to, it would have eaten me up inside if she wasn't aware. Worse. The thing is, I have to accept my past. She doesn't have to accept it. I have to accept my past. I have to accept the things I've done. And it's part of my growth, and not be ashamed, because I'm not saying, you know, I'm proud of it, not at all, but not be ashamed, because that shame, if I carry that around all the time, it's just dead weight. You can't do anything.
And it's happened.
It's happened. Why carry that shame around with you at all times? Like, this is what's happened. This is what I've done.
Do you feel like you remember a lot of it?
I used to think I did, and then I found out I don't. That's a scary thing that comes with addiction, is the blackouts and stuff, because you think, oh yeah, I have some blackouts, or, you know, I can't remember this to here. 10 years of my life is out of order, if that makes sense. I'm like, wait, where did that happen? Where did this happen? Somebody once messaged me saying, oh, I'm just watching you on a TV program. I'm like, what's that then? And they told me what it was. I went, the fuck's that? And I said, take a video of it, send it to me. And they sent it. And there I am, acting in a scene, doing this thing. It was called The Dumping Grounds, a kids' TV program. I couldn't remember it. I was like, I don't remember film. I don't remember ever doing that. I was a whole day's filming, several days. I don't remember it. I can't remember doing that job. And I went, that's entirely gone out of my head. I was like, how? I was on set. How was I so far gone? I don't remember that. So yeah, there's a lot of blackouts, and there's a lot of sexual encounters I've forgotten. And that's something that always gets my heart going, is when I meet a girl for the first time or someone out and about, and they say, we've actually met before. And I go, oh God. And I want my instinct to say, I'm so sorry. Because that's happened.
Did we?
But again, I don't hold it. You know, I try and let it go as quick as I can, because there's no point carrying that around.
I mean, I've had a fair few memory blackouts where I've had to be like, did that happen?
Yeah. Oh no.
I just recorded an episode about STIs, and the fact that a lot of people, if they have them, they'll tell sexual partners when they're drunk, and that's not really consent. You know what I mean? Like, if you are not telling, like, obviously maybe you haven't known, I guess maybe you haven't known you're going to hook up with that person until you're both drunk, and then you're in the moment. But actually, to tell someone, whether it's STI related or not, that, I mean, even a piece of information that other person might need to know.
Yeah.
Maybe you're saying, I'm actually married. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, that's quite important.
It's so common for people to save that information as well for when they're drunk. So you know, that's not real consent, but we would all go, oh, well, I said it was fine in the moment.
Yeah.
But it is still really muddy, and it is still really blurry, because if I'm honest with myself, and I look back at my sexual past, there's so many times that I've had sex with people that I'm probably sure I wouldn't have had I not been drunk and not been like, it's just going to be easier to just do this now. I
mean, it got to a place where, and I don't mean this to sound crude, but I would have sex with women. I did it because that's who I was.
Yeah.
That was part of my reputation at that point.
Sure.
That there were times, I think I even was having sex with a girl once and I stopped. I was just went, I'm so sorry. I was in a bad place at that point. What's wrong? I'm not here. I'm just so, because it is, you are, without realizing it, you are giving a piece of yourself away. It's, you know, you're making a physical agreement with someone to be trusted, to be, you know, taken care of for the next God knows how many minutes or hours or days, whatever it is, while you're in each other's embrace. You know, but that happens, you know. I've been in dates. No, Maria, I've been in situations where, you know, what started as a one night stand.
I've been inside someone for days.
For 3 days, like a human puppet. We should probably get something tweeted and definitely have a shower, God. But there's been times I've had, I know it sounds messed up, but like what started as a one night stand, been locked in the same small room for days on end with the same girl, just festering in a sexual drug fueled situation. That may sound exciting, but by the end, it's not. I once had a time where by the end of a particularly long drugged up sex session, me and this girl was sat in a bath and she just burst into tears, not because anything had gone wrong. Massively, it was a come down as well. But it was just, we were just at our lowest. But both of us just sat in this bath, just like, fucking hell, just like, what wretches we were. Do you know what I mean? And she burst into tears. I went, are you all right? She was like, I just feel like shit. And we had a big conversation. Just felt, I just don't know why I do these things. We ended up just like hugging and crying for a bit. I know that sounds mental after everything, because we're just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? We were on a massive come down. That is a big part
and you're sort of coming back into reality.
Yeah. But that was the best part of the whole thing, was at the end of just what are we?
The truth.
What's going on? The truth. And I said, I almost wish we just had this conversation before we'd done anything else, you know, because I actually needed this more.
Yeah.
You know, she's wonderful now. She's getting married and stuff. And I just went further into the hole.
And I mean, obviously substances affect us all physically as well, you know.
There are a lot of drugs which are sexual enhancing drugs. And, you know, that is a massive thing. Things like methadone was a thing. G is a thing. Cocaine, you know, is another one that is a stimulant. Sexually, all these things are massively. The biggest one at the moment, I know in the gay world, because I have a lot of friends who have come to me who've got a specific problem with crystal meth. Now, I've never done.
That's interesting, because I've been asked a question about chemsex, and I believe that's one of the drugs that's involved in that. Chemsex,
chemsex is a massive thing.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's really big in the gay world, but it's big in the straight world as well. It's everybody's dirty secret, basically, is what happens. That these things do happen. People, the after party, people go back to houses, and under the influence of, you know, sexually arousing drugs, all bets are off.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the drugs involved. If someone had just said, what do you think about chemsex? Then my go-to is, it's not great, but I don't know, but I believe it's crystal meth.
It's massively crystal meth. Sometimes cocaine as well, methadone.
Methadone. And I'd literally never heard the name of the last one that I saw on the list, but I believed 2 were like stimulants and 1 was a sedative. And that cocktail did not sound great to me when I just read it.
Health and safety warning. I can't stress it. I know 2 people have died on G because you mix it with alcohol in certain amounts, and you will die. And it's a terrible thing, because it is.
Yeah.
You can't, when people are at parties, people are drinking, doing things, people putting things in drinks on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Putting things in a glass of water, and then drinking from the wrong drink. It's a dangerous situation. Now, I'm not saying chemsex is nothing to be ashamed of. Again, if things are consensual, people are into that world. But crystal meth is a highly addictive, flesh-eating drug. It is a horrendous, man-made, synthetic thing that is really bad for you. Really. I mean, it tears apart it tears apart the molecules in your body. Literally, that's what it does. It's such a fucking horrendous thing. And I understand why people do it, because the euphoric feeling of chemsex parties, you lose everything. And it's a big, I'm not gonna lie, I've been in many situations where I didn't think it was a chemsex party at that point. It was because it was just happened out of the blue. But
maybe it was.
But well, it's just, you go back, there's drugs involved, and suddenly everybody's naked and you're like, oh, look what's going on here.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. And what starts as fun and exciting quickly does drag people into addiction, into massive problems. That is a big thing. A lot of shame. People will carry a lot of shame because they don't know what happened. They don't know what's going on. They can't remember. They're piecing things together in a whirlwind of euphoria. They get caught up in the rapture and they go, oh God, the next day they feel like shit. I'm not going to do that again. But then they chase that again, because nothing quite that, because you're hitting all the things. You're chemically off your head. You're sexually off your head. You're feeling, you're touching people. You're part of something. No wonder people do it, especially people who must feel isolated in their daily lives, to get such an overwhelming flow of euphoria.
Freedom.
Yeah, I can see why people do it.
Yeah.
But these drugs will eventually kill you.
Yeah. I mean, when someone sends me something like that, because obviously I don't, I'm not very educated on drugs, I have to be honest. I sort of know bits and pieces from like friends who've taken them, and obviously things like our conversation now. Yeah. But when someone sends me a question like that, and then I research chemsex and what's involved, my immediate concern, being who I am and, everything I try and talk about and teach, is what your consent is before you started taking those drugs might be completely different. But I don't believe that everyone is completely in control of their ability to give or take away consent when your mind is just not in a sane place.
Well, I think that's the main thing of chemsex parties, of doing anything on when that's what you're going in for. The consent you give is that the second I am inebriated on this, my consent is given and it's gone. Anything goes, because you can't.
I'm like, are you signing? You know what I mean? Are you signing?
Yeah,
forms?
you are.
Like, how are you giving?
No,
consent
you're agreeing to the fact that within the mesh of that situation, there will be no. Oh, are you okay? That just doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. You've given your consent by accepting that you're in there and you're on drugs. That is it. You can't do any more than that, because, not to mention, some of these drugs can make people feel fucking paranoid. If someone starts freaking out in there, everyone's gonna lose their shit. It's the consent is, once you're in that room and those doors are locked, what goes. And that is a dangerous place, because there is no, I'm not comfortable with this, there's no conversation, it's just what goes. That's part of the excitement. That's part of the excitement of it. There is no conversation, everyone's a free-for-all. And that's what gets people. But then that is the thing, that the next day, when the sun has risen, you're on a come down and you're trying to piece together all the tiny fractured moments that you can remember of that night. I did all that. Oh, that felt. Oh, that was weird. What state does it leave someone in? Their mind. It leaves you in a state of, God, oh shit, that was fucked up.
I think I would, if it's a sex thing, if it's about being freer and more liberated sexually, I would advocate to look at sex events.
Yeah.
That you can go to and actually meet other like-minded people who might enjoy the same sexual things as you, and explore things in a safer and more mediated environment. That would be my preference for people, rather than what sounds to me like quite a sexually dangerous environment.
But I think what you would get from that is there's a whole load of people probably listening to this right now saying, but I wouldn't do the things that I do if I wasn't on drugs at that time. I'm not going to sign up to a swingers lodge or anything along those lines and do half the shit I would do when I'm off my face on crystal meth, because the crystal meth is the release. That's half the reason I do it, is because everything feels heightened.
And it's such a sort of a double-edged sword. I think especially for men and penis owners, like if you're going to go out and get drunk or do drugs because you want to hook up with people, or the ways in which it can affect you physically, like it can obviously affect people's erections, it can affect people's ability to ejaculate. I mean, I also am never really aware if someone's on drugs or not, because I'm so like not part of that scene, that I've definitely been in crowds of people that I can't believe how off their face everyone is, and I'm like, I literally don't know what you're talking about. Someone has to be like aggressively like chewing their jaw for me to understand. And like the people that I've had sex with, when I've actually been aware that they've been on drugs, I've been like, oh my God, this is never going to end. I need this to end soon. It's been going on for too long.
I feel sorry.
And actually it isn't ever going to end. You know, there's just no end goal in sight.
No, I feel sorry for anybody who is sober having sex with someone on cocaine who can get an erection, because they're going to be like the Energizer Bunny. They're never going to come. They're going to get upset about it. That's the thing, and that happens. So unless you're both in on it, it's just embarrassing from one party. And there, a lot of the time people do drugs and they can't get erect. That is a massive part of
course.
I come from I did a lot of work in the I used to be in between jobs. I was worked for a male stripping company, as you know, and met a lot of guys there who were on copious amounts of different kind of drugs and stuff, like body enhancing drugs, and that fucked them up no ends, their sex lives and stuff. So it became the norm to be like to have Viagra. To take Viagra with them everywhere, because they were on so many things, they just couldn't get an erection. It was just like, you can't, so you take a Viagra. You had to. That was just the dumb thing.
And it's mad to me that people are like, I'm going to go out, get drunk, take drugs to hook up with someone, and then for it to physically possibly affect your body in such a negative way, and for it to like have a possible like really negative impact on the sexual experience itself.
But the thing is, the way they look at it goes, but if I don't do this to this to this level, I'm not getting.
Then I won't get there. Then I won't get
there anyway. What happened? It's that much ingrained in our social tapestry of social behavior. You do this thing to do this thing to get to that thing. You don't just jump to the last one. You do all these things first to get there, and that's how it works. Absolutely. And if you don't like it, don't question it, because that is the way society works.
Obviously, you're 3 years in, which is amazing. Do you ever struggle? Do you ever feel like I want to reach for a drink, or do you ever feel like you've even come close to going back?
No, and I'll tell you why. It's one of the main things, because I don't look at a big picture. I don't look with sobriety. I don't look at years.
You just go a day.
Not just today.
Yeah,
and that's how I've judged it. I don't want to drink today because I've got too many nice things. I'm enjoying myself. I don't want to drink today, and I'm not going to. And tomorrow, I'll take care of tomorrow when it comes. If I try and start thinking ahead, it will start planning and screwing me up. So I don't do that. It keeps me very present in the day, in the moment. And without realizing it, 3 years have added up one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's the best way to deal with it. Days that are particularly hard, because life will throw you curveballs and it can be difficult, I break up into even smaller sections. I then break it up into hours. And if I can't handle the hours, because I break it up into minutes.
Yeah.
Now, I can't handle the minutes, I'll just take it down to seconds. And in those seconds, all I do is I do what I did when I started. I surrender. I do what I did 3 years ago when I had enough. I just go, I can't do this. I surrender. I surrender my thoughts. I try not to think of anything. It's like a very quick meditation.
Sure.
My brain is rushing around trying to say, well, if you did this, and trying to control the situation, and if you haven't, you could possibly, fuck off. I'm not listening to you. You're not on my side. I surrender it. I don't want it. I don't want these thoughts. And if 5 seconds goes past, normally it's gone away. That impetus has gone away and I feel better.
Sure.
And it's very powerful. And also there's a lot of power. I know that I've got people to call.
Yeah.
And there's no dancing around it. We go straight into the depth of conversation. I have people where I go straight and go, I have friends who I could call, who could call me and go, mate, I'm thinking of killing myself. I'm at this place. And I wouldn't go, whoa, that's a lot. But okay, let's go straight in.
Yeah. It's safe. It's safe.
We're so safe. I've got people that I'm on that level. They literally know everything about me.
Yeah.
And I am so safe in that there's no friends who I can't say this, whatever. Again, it's that thing I think all people need, men especially, need that place where you don't have to do the rigmarole of, all right, mate, I'm fine, or whatever, and a couple of drinks to get it out of you. You can go straight in and say, no,
like an honest support system.
You don't need to know why you're losing your mind. You just need to talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because people go, unless I know why, things are a bit hard, just talk about it. Talking helps. Talking is everything. The healing is in two people communicating and relating and realizing you're not alone, that your specific tale of debauchery and horrendousness, that you're the worst person in the world, has happened to a billion other people in exactly the same way. And that's it. I've heard my own story told back to me in 100 tiny pieces by different addicts. But you're not alone. You feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's everything. Everything is about not being alone. You know, it's literally the reason that I started this podcast, because everyone thinks they're alone in whatever they're dealing with their sex life. And people have written to me and been like, me and my partner only have sex once every 6 months. And I'm like, that is literally so many relationships. And just people then knowing that like other people are in the same situation, it just immediately makes you feel better. And funnily enough, the more specific subjects like this one, and like when I had the conversation with my friend Katie about vaginismus, which is super specific, are always the ones that people are most ready to hear, because they're the things that people really aren't talking about, you know.
Taboos,
and I can easily have sober sex. It's not, I wouldn't even think twice about it, you know what I mean? Like I could have sex sober with someone at any time of the day. I really struggle to remember a time where the first time I slept with someone new, I was sober. If ever. If I'm honest, I can't remember everyone.
You are not alone in that.
Well, no, I definitely am not.
That's the status quo.
But I think this is going to lead us well onto the questions, because this is sort of what a lot of the questions are about. And funnily enough, the first one is it easier to stay sober whilst in a relationship? I'm single and literally every first date seems to revolve around drinking.
If you're looking to stay sober but you also want to date people, date the kind of people who are willing to go for a coffee.
Yeah. Or a walk.
If they don't want to do that, they're probably not the one.
I think it is easier, isn't it? Because of course, when I've been in relationships, days, weeks will go past where we will be at home living our normal sex life and not touching alcohol, because I'm not really an at home. I'm not someone who, I might have the odd gin and tonic, but I'm not really someone who drinks much at home personally. So yes, I think easier just in a logistical sense. I think really you have to make it your point, don't you, that I'm not going to do this. So you either have to arrange a date where alcohol isn't on the table, or if you are going to meet someone at a restaurant or at a bar, just let them know that they won't be drinking, because
let them know before, because it is a bigger deal in our society. Take it from someone who's sober. I've had friends to have a small existential crisis when I say I'm not drinking. They're like, what? Because they're like, but I am. And I'm like, that's fine. They're like, no, because then we're not on the same level. It throws people off.
Right.
So definitely bring it up first. If you want to stay sober on a date, tell them first, so they can decide accordingly whether they want to continue with that date. Yeah. You know, and they might be like, oh, I can't actually do that because I'm too nervous. That's fine. Then keep talking until you're ready to do that date. And then you obviously keep chatting till you feel to know each other a bit better or whatever you want.
Yeah, because I mean, I could easily date someone who didn't drink with no judgment, as long as they didn't judge that I did. If that, you know what I mean? Because whatever someone's life choices are, obviously it's up to us to decide whether we're compatible or not. Do you think it's been easier for you to stay sober because your partner is pretty much sober as well?
It definitely helps. It is a thing, because it means that the things that I like to do for fun and stuff is she likes to do as well. We go on adventures, and that's what we do, and we save a fortune because we don't drink. We do go for dinner.
Really save money, especially.
Oh God, people are like, you guys live such a luxurious lifestyle. Why? You're always in amazing places. Why is that? Just don't drink.
Yeah,
and that is literally, we don't drink.
Expense,
No, I'm not saying to everyone that's do that. I'm just saying that if you're starting dating a relationship or whatever, and it is something that you want to go in and not drink, and you want to start that, you will learn how much someone depends on alcohol very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly in a dating situation. Before I went out with Kelly, I went on a few dates with another girl. This is way before I went out with Kelly, when I was still an absolute mess. Kelly supported me. She liked her, this girl, funny enough. Kelly thought, you should have seen how I'd gone with her. And I was like, she wouldn't have gone out with me, because every time I saw her was in the evening.
Yeah.
And was for drinking, and I would drink. And she was in a show at the time, and she wouldn't drink. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And I would be drinking, and it'd be like, and I was ready to go wild. So it would always, the date would end with like me a couple of drinks in and her stone cold sober because she got a show the next day. And we were not on the same level. And I was like, this is awkward.
Right.
It was weird, you know what I mean? Especially going back to her house or whatever. And it was just like, ooh, I knew it wasn't going to work from the get-go. This wasn't going to work. We were on such different levels. And she was lovely. She was a wonderful girl. I knew, I was like, this ain't going to work. I was like, I can't tame this into just the old sober level. Fuck. So no way you're starting, I think. No, you're starting point.
Yeah. And also, like, there will be people out there who like get it. You know what I mean? I think it seems like there isn't, because I think as well, especially with dating apps, from what I've seen, people seem to feel the need to prove they're like the life of the party, but sometimes people aren't, and that's okay.
That's okay too.
And the next one is actually, how do you stop needing alcohol to have sex when you're so used to using it as a crutch?
I would start by saying, if this is one night stands and kind of stuff, be brave. I say, if you're still, in the dating world, or you are someone who isn't in a long-term relationship, you're gonna have to just be brave with that. In a relationship, Maria's, Peach has hit the nail on the head, is communication.
Yeah.
It might suck. It might feel weird, but talk about how you feel before you start. Talk about it. Don't be like, sex isn't as well. It's not something that you enter into the silent, zone of like, all we do is moan now and groan. And you can talk. You can
literally chat.
You can literally have a conversation. You can crack a joke if you want. Depends on the joke. But you can literally do that. Talk it through.
I love a bit of laugh. I love a bit of a laugh. A sex time laugh. Yeah.
Talk it through. Talk about these things. It's really important. That is what, and I can't take credit for that, because that's not what I did. I just festered in my nervousness, and it took my G of a girlfriend to say, right, let's start talking about this, and to chat and really bring up the force out of me. And I just said, I just feel uneasy. I feel less. I carry a lot of shame with sex and all this stuff. And she totally got it.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's it. All that I said, you think I'm having stupid. In my head, I'm suddenly going through all the things that I've ever done. And I just feel like a terrible piece of shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm like a terrible person, because I associate this act
with all of that,
with a dark time. I know it's meant to be an intimate, lovely thing. So you're not even here. Like, Kelly wasn't there. I was so in my head. She helped bring me out of my head. I was like, it's just me and you. It's just me and you here. And that is that. It's conversation, intimacy, trust, all the shit that you teach. Is it?
And you probably feel like you focus more on the other person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I love her more for it. I love her more because she is I've never been so aware of a partner. It pays dividends all round to have communication and understand each other's intimacy, and to know each other's body as if it's your own.
Yeah.
Is a beautiful, beautiful thing, because then you start to love the other person's body more.
Yeah.
Every fiber of it, it's when you get past that awkward stage, it's the best thing in the world. And then all of the pressure of perfect sex goes away as well,
because it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as perfect sex, for a start.
Oh, and not to mention, my girlfriend is on tour most of the time. She's away for weeks at a time. If we were living up to the Instagram standard that when she comes home, that it has to be, bam, we have to go for a wonderful dinner, take the Instagram photo, go home, sex like porn stars, great. She wants to go to sleep. She's exhausted.
Well, quite. And I know that life where you feel like you have the one day off a week, and it's like, well, if you don't have sex that one day, then what? You know what I mean? Does that mean you're failing as a couple?
No, not at all.
That tour, that whole, and obviously we've all been there, that whole tour attitude towards, you've got to make the absolute best of that one day a week that you get with your partner, and it better best, you know what I mean? Because like, what if you have sex and it's not the best time that you've had sex, and then you've got to go away for a week, and that's what your last, it's so much pressure. It just has to go. And
it does. Yeah. And
I would say as well to this question, about when you're used to using it as a crutch, it's definitely going to make a difference if you're having sex with someone that and you trust, because I've spoken about this before, just even in terms of like the differences in orgasm. And for me to have a penetrative orgasm, that has to happen with an ongoing partner. We have to talk about it. We have to work at it and have some, what I like to call, less than sexy sessions, because you're literally putting some work in to get to an end goal. And you sort of have to be prepared to have sex that is not going to look like it does in a movie. It's not going to sound like it does in audio porn. It's not going to read like it does in 50 Shades of Grey. It's going to be
I hope not. It's terribly written. This sex is grammatically horrendous.
But so many people were like heavily invested in that book. But, you have to be prepared to go into and come out of sexual sessions, just sort of finding your way. And I also always go back to yourself. Like, you can for me, sexual confidence comes from myself. Like, I have gotten to know my own body so well and explored my own body so much that I now feel very confident and comfortable with partners, telling them, guiding them with what works for me and hearing the same back from them, you know, like those conversations are great and they're helpful. So if sexual confidence is an issue, always take it back to yourself. Take that time to discover yourself and what feels good for you so that you know how to adequately communicate it to someone else. And the first time, if you're used to having sex whilst drinking alcohol, the first time that you don't is going to feel mad weird. I mean, Sam, you will attest to that. It's just one or maybe a few times you're going to have sex in however many times you're going to have sex in your life. That's going to feel a bit uncomfortable, but you're going to come out of, I mean, I definitely, although I've had like countless experiences of drunk sex in my life, the majority of my best sexual experiences have been sober. So coming out the other side of it, you'll be glad.
And I think as well, when it comes to, you know, your best sexual experiences, sober or not, or whatever, it eradicate the idea of anybody, and always be aware if someone says either they're good in bed or if somebody is shit in bed.
I don't do that language. We don't do that.
Oh, it's the biggest fallacy. It's the biggest lie in the world, because it takes two people. You might not be compatible with someone else. Doesn't mean they're shit. Doesn't mean you're shit. When you're compatible with someone, it might be the best sex ever. When you're not, it's not. But it's so quickly to be there, they're not very good in bed.
And also the first time you have sex with someone is rarely a reflection on what an ongoing sex life is going to be, because, you know, sometimes you're like, okay, that didn't really work for me. And then you put work into the same as you do any other part of a relationship. If you like that person enough and you're going to put the time in, it's the same, you know, it's the same as anything else. But the good, bad thing pisses me off because as my tagline is, it's a collaboration, not a performance. Like, who was good for you? Who was bad for you? What are you talking about? Like, someone's not performing for you. What were you doing? You know, I
was always surprised I got away with it. People, anyone who was thought Sam must be good at bed. He's had sex with a lot of women. I was like, sometimes it lasted 3 minutes, nothing happened, and I cried. so just so you're very aware here, there is. I'm not, you know, there's not a 10 out of 10 every time here. Sometimes there's a -5. All right. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work like that.
Anyway, moving swiftly on, Sam. Next question. My partner uses drugs and drinks regularly. I don't. And claims these behaviors don't affect their sex drive, but I think they do. How can I approach this delicately without sounding judgmental?
Right. It's a very simple one. And unfortunately, it's always going to be difficult because it's steps. You breach the subject, first of all, with, I don't feel comfortable with you drinking drugs while we're having sex. I don't want to have sex with you while you're inebriated, while you're chemically altered, sorry. And hopefully that's the end of it. Hopefully he goes, oh yeah, all right then. And that's it. You say how you feel and know what you want. You just don't want to do that because you want to be connected. However,
it's unlikely.
What happens is people will fight.
Yeah, they get defensive.
Tooth and nail for their thing. They don't want to change. It's their thing. Well, no, it's fine. It's not. Why is your problem? People start to defend it. And if they fight tooth and nail for it, that's the thing. Ask the question why. That's the main thing. Why do you feel so necessary? Why can't you give this up? I'm not saying forever, just to that. Why do you need it so much? Let them question themselves. Let them ask themselves the question. Let him go, why do I need it? If I'm in a relationship with this person, if I've been with them for a while and I love them, why am I still in that place that I need to feel altered to do the most intimate things, to give myself to that person? Ask that question and then try it sober. Put it on the line. Go through the motions. Do you know what I mean? Try it. Just have the conversation about it, but do bring it up. And, you know, you've only got worries. I think if someone is not willing to give it up, but trust me, if someone's got a real problem, there's far more alarm bells than just they don't want to have sober sex. Far more.
Yeah, or even maybe suggest going away for a weekend together and just trying that for a weekend and then asking them if the sex felt different for them.
Yeah.
You know,
it can be quite an aphrodisiac as well. If you talk it through, that you're both entirely aware and corpus mentis entirely in yourselves for it. If you bring it forward, if you have that conversation, you know, go, wow, I was really in on that. I was really there. Talk about it. It could be quite exciting, quite thrilling. You know, I think definitely just breach the subject and don't be afraid. If this is your partner, don't be scared. If they get defensive, then you just say, I just want to try it.
Yeah.
You know, see it go through it. It might change everything, you know?
Mm-hmm. And also, if you feel like their behaviors do affect their sex drive, then feel free to bring up those examples, you know, because you will have, especially if you don't use any mind altering substances, you will sort of have some clarity on, I guess, the ebbs and flows of that sex drive. Because if they're saying they don't, but you can say, but actually I am on the receiving end of this, and this is, you know, the past few weeks, the past month, like this is how it has ebbed and flowed and how it has affected me. I mean, we'd like to all believe that people care about how they are affecting their partners. I know sadly it's not always the case, but I'd like to believe that if you are saying this is affecting, because quite a lot of the time it's difficult, I think, in conversations, if you start pointing fingers, people immediately get defensive. And so one of the best ways to approach things most of the time is to say, I feel, because people can't tell you how you feel.
Yeah. Or you word it, you turn around and say, I love you so much.
Yeah.
I want you to be as present as possible for this. One time I'd like to try that. Play to the ego. Oh, really? Goes, yeah, because, you know, I just feel like if you're not there, I was like, I'd love to do it sober. Make a thing of it. I'd love you to be fully present with me like I am when we have sex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a team, not an attack, but as a be with me, not, you know.
And I, you know, that's not a gender specific thing. Like whenever I talk to anyone about communicating with their partner or partners about sex, like it's always make it complementary and make it about you working together. Always about you working together as a team. And, you know, even I love this part of our sex life. However, I feel like this part could, you know, because we're so not used to talking about it at all. It is still a space where people's ego immediately like goes through the roof because they feel like they're being attacked, and it's not, because we have to make it an ego-free zone. And that sounds easier said than done. It just isn't going to happen overnight. But realistically, within a partnership, the goal should be to make sex an ego-free zone. Because if you say this isn't working for me, that's not that someone isn't doing something right or well. It just means that doesn't work for my body. So, but I can tell you what does, and then I'm sure you're going to do that great, or hopefully. You know, so I think exactly that. Just if you don't want to sound judgmental, just make it about the positive things that you want to work together sexually as a team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Rather than pointing the finger and saying, you do this, you do that. But obviously, if you do think it's a problem, then that is something that really eventually you're going to want to try to get help with.
I think don't be afraid, as you just said there, to highlight, first of all, that it is a delicate subject. Everything you just said there goes, look, make a joke about it. Say, look, I want to talk about sex. And people laugh, you know, make a thing. Goes, I know this is an awkward, weird conversation. Highlight it. And it goes, but, you know, we're in a loving relationship and I want to talk to you about it. And it's like, do you think we can do that? You know, if not, they go, oh God, that's weird. Do it. Point out the elephant in the room. When you're talking about sex, do you know what I mean? Make sure you're both aware that you are in this intimate conversation. It doesn't need to be like shoulders up, nervous. It's be like, we can relax. Let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
It's important to just point that out, that, you know, say it's okay that this is going to be weird. We're socially conditioned for it to be weird. You know, our parents never spoke about sex ever. Fact.
I honestly feel like every episode people must just listen, and every question they might be like, oh, let me guess, she's going to say talk about it. But it's always the answer. So I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like there's literally like there's 3 things I always say about sex, and it's consent, communicate, collaborate. And that's really going to be the foundation to every answer I'm going to give you. So
find a way to talk about it comfortably so you can contemplate it. So it's not just words, it's more, it's getting it right. It's
healthy communication.
Contemplation. You know, they goes, oh, I can understand your point of view. I don't just feel attacked and I'm in my own shit right now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Contemplation is key.
All the C's, everything to see.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. I'm concerned my friends and boyfriend wouldn't even recognize or like me if I wasn't relying on drinking or cocaine. I'm a daily user. And the thought of sober sex is terrifying. Do you have any advice for me? Before you answer that, because you'd gotten so used to sort of, as we were saying before about when people are like drunk or on drugs and people are like, they're wild, they're the life of the party. Did you feel like there was sort of like pressure to then live up to that reputation and keep going?
Nah. And I'll tell you why. It's because people use that as an excuse. It's the biggest excuse. It's often I hear it all the time. You start to use your drinking and drug taking as your identity. as something you are tied to, because the alternative of losing it is losing yourself. It's too frightening. So you tie yourself to it. You tie your friends. You tie your lifestyle. Fuck it. Some people tie their job to it. Now, I need to do cocaine because I have a high pressure job. I need to let my head out. I need to drink. Why? Because that is who I am, because that is my friendship group. Why? I need to do this because my partners, if that's the way, they tie it to such an integral part of their identity that it becomes, they can't separate from who they are. They don't know. And this person who's written this in is, a daily coke user and drinker, is a prime example of somebody who knows there's a problem there, who knows they've lost themselves in their addiction, so much so that it's become their identity. It's part of their identity. They are now fighting for it. They're part of their mind is saying, I'm worried. Just that's alarm bells there. I'm worried my friends and partner won't know me or like me if I'm not this person. No,
but also, will you know or like yourself?
What you're doing is you're giving yourself an excuse. You're putting it on a pedestal so you don't have to change. Do not. That is a lie. We tell ourselves that, or that I had every excuse under the sun of why I had to do. I was a creative genius because I did drugs to fuel the darkness within my soul, which which I splurged onto paper. That is a lie. That is a lie I told myself so I could continue doing drink or drug. I've not lost any creativity. I've not lost any of that at all. That's what I told myself so I could hold on to my beliefs about myself so I didn't have to shake it. So the person who wrote that message in, I would highly recommend, if you are worried about that, take a break. Take a break from drink and drugs. See if you can. See if you can. And you'll very quickly know, see where you fit into the social circle. See how much drink and drugs is going on around you. See how much a bigger part of your life that plays.
Right, because also aren't your boyfriend and friends concerned that you are taking cocaine on daily?
Yeah. Well, you'll very quickly realize, when you realize there's no one around you who's concerned for your well-being, it's because everyone around you is doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I surrounded myself, anybody who was worried about me or had a inkling of, is he all right? And they were gone. I mean, Maria, I've known you for 12 years. I didn't see you for the best part of 7. You're not the kind of person I would have seen, and you wouldn't have not said something. You would have been like, are you fucking all right? So there's no way you're in my life. However, I had a group of friends who were, enabling me because they got to do it as well.
Yeah.
So they're the people you hang out with. That's what you do. You don't hang out with people with common sense who care for you or worry for you. You just don't.
Yeah.
So if this person is saying, I'm worried my boyfriend or that will do that, then, take a little break and take a sober look at your situation and see where you stand. If you're worried about your partner after that, see where they stand. Do not tie any kind of using to your identity. That is a lie.
Or worth that your friends and boyfriend like you because you're drunk or high.
Yeah, that is nothing to do with it, because everyone is self-obsessed. So don't do that. Don't put it on a pedestal.
Yeah. And if you're worried about that, then of course the thought of sober sex is terrifying, because you're worried about people just recognizing or liking you. And then we're talking about being in an extremely vulnerable position, you know, so of course that's going to be.
It's a very frightening thing to be sober and look at yourself and go, what am I? Who am I?
It's hard, isn't it? Especially for me, because obviously, like I said, I am definitely prone to a drink, but because I've never tried drugs, I sort of feel a bit, for me to just go, just don't do it. You know what I mean? Because I would have no idea I don't think in my life I've ever come close to anything, even though I had an ex-boyfriend who put me in therapy for what he thought was a sex addiction. And it was just a complete difference in sex drives.
Love that he did that for you though. That's really great. So he put you in what a ledge. What
he was like, I can't have sex as often as you can, so you've clearly got a sex addiction.
So there's something wrong with you.
You're going to therapy. Yeah, literally. I spoke about it, and I think my second episode, it was wild. I was like, cool, that's great. That's excellent. The only thing I've ever cut out, actually, and I was really unwell for it, is coffee. And I am like a 3 or 4 coffee a day kind of gal. So I stopped drinking it. And I actually have never been so unwell in my life. Did you have a terrible physical cold turkey experience?
My sleep pattern was all over the place, because I'd get up at 6 a.m. because something about that time I just loved. I either stayed up to it or got up at it. So sleeping I had terrible nightmares, morning sickness, which is a horrible thing. Energy levels were all over the place because I didn't eat as much.
Right.
I barely ate. From the evenings I was run on, adrenaline and cocaine. So then suddenly I just my energy levels were all over as I was going on because I wasn't eating enough. I had to readjust my whole body to work out, just to find my new sense of norm. That was a tough time. That was tough.
So yeah, I do find it sort of a bit casual for me to just give it a go. I think as well, like, if you're concerned that your friends and boyfriend won't know or like you because you're drinking, doing cocaine every day, like that, I really would like that. I personally would like that to be the least of your worries. And I'd like you to just worry for yourself that you're doing that every day and maybe consider.
Yeah. If you think you have a problem with addiction, it's not my place or anyone's place to tell you that you do. Yeah. I don't. I've never told anyone they're an addict, because if you tell someone that, they run away. But I think when you say if you're a daily user of cocaine and drink, maybe check just to see where you're at, because that sounds to me that's not normal. Yeah. That's not a social using. That is a relying place. That's not a good place to be in. Now, I'm not going to say you're an addict, but I feel like your worries about your boyfriend and stuff are actually the tip of the iceberg of something that is essentially a defect in what's going on in your life at the moment. And maybe talk to someone.
Yeah.
Message me. I'm always here.
Yeah. And I think maybe take care of that before worrying anything about else. Sex. I just don't think make that the priority at the minute, because
take care of that first. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, when you do take some time away from those substances and hopefully realize that and like yourself, sex won't feel as scary.
No.
Okay, next up. When do you think that partners can enable each other's bad behaviors, alcohol or smoking, for example? And is that just a doomed relationship, or can it be worked through?
No, it's not a doomed relationship at all. It's all how you want to go about it. So if you're in a relationship where you both spur each other on in the bad things, in the drinking and the smoking, all that stuff, change together. Try and change together. If you can't, if it's something that one person won't or whatever, but if you're not in the thralls of addiction, if you're just together, you can do it together. Say, let's stop this. Let's try and live our lives differently. See how that goes down.
Have you been in a relationship where you felt like that's been the case?
Yeah, I am not Kelly, the relationship before that, I made her social drink and drug taking worse, because for her to be with me was to be out, and she didn't do a lot of drugs. She did dabbled, but her drug intake, I'd say, doubled from being around me. And her drinking intake doubled from being around me. And I think it had I didn't see it at the time because I was so swept up in myself, but I think it had a very terrible effect on her emotionally, anxiety wise, and all this stuff. It didn't help her. And I think she was doing it to be closer to me or whatever. I don't think she even knew that I was drowning her.
Yeah.
She just said, I just feel crazy all the time. And of course I was going, you are crazy. Let's do more drugs. Do you know?
Right. Yeah.
Rather than me going, oh, do you know what? I don't think I'm helping you. I think I'm a terrible influence on you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry,
Yeah, that's hard. I don't think I've been in a relationship like that, so I don't know that I can speak from any personal experiences. But again, I just would like to think that people can communicate their way through if you want to. That's the main thing. How much do you want to make this relationship work? How much do you want to work through it? I'm not saying it has to be an ultimatum, but if someone were to say to you, it's the drink or me, it's the cigarettes or me, where would your mind go?
It's something. This is a very important thing to anyone who's in a relationship. I'm very sorry, with anyone who is in a relationship with an addict or an alcoholic. They will choose the drink and drugs every time and make it about you, make it your problem. If you challenge me on my drink and drug taking, I will turn it into a problem in our relationship. I would have made it about us. I think you do too many drugs. I want you to stop. I think that we're not happy in this relationship. I think you're smothering me. I think we need space, to the point they go, okay, fine. No, fine. I won't bring it up. And then that's the new bar is set there. So I can continue to keep taking my poisons. A drug addict and an alcoholic will find a way to get what they need over anything. There is no communication. It's a horrible thing to say, but that is what will happen. And it will get worse. If they are a true alcoholic, a true addict, it will get worse. There is no happy moment. And as a partner, the worst thing is then you will start to tailor what you say and do around them all the time out of fear of making them angry, out of fear of them reacting. That's the worst thing, because then you're like, oh, I won't say this, I don't want to react. And then you will count your good days, count sober moments, and you'll think that's great and it's happy, and you'll play them up in your head. That is what a relationship is meant to be. It's meant to be mostly good. You should be like, that's a win, that's a win. Oh shit, now we're back to it. Then you start to live your life through them, on the roller coaster of their emotional thing, and they're unaware. They won't know that you're on a ride with them. They'll have no idea.
For sure. If it's a social thing that you're worried is like on the sort of like tipping side of it, and you think that there is a space for conversation, and you both want to work through it, then I think there is a possibility for it to be worked through, for sure.
If it's somebody who's just, dancing with the devil, and they're just drinking too much, and they're still corpus mentis, and they're all there, and this is not someone you're worried about as an addict, of course, have a conversation. They might be a little bit miffed, but if they love you, they do the right thing because they're still there.
Yeah.
If it's any deeper than that, if you're in a relationship, I'm talking an alcoholic addict. I'm talking somebody who is beyond that point of repair. I'm talking daily drinkers. I'm talking people who hide it, people who lie, people who don't come home for 3 days at a time. You don't know where they've been. Those people, those partners. If your partner is that, there is, you can call Al-Anon. There is numbers you can call, find them online for help for people who are in those relationships, who are in those situations with people, with loved ones, with family members, mothers, fathers, kids, whatever, who offer help and conversation for that, because you can feel helpless.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do. And it's a frightening thing. And, we as addicts, we put our loved ones through hell, absolute fucking hell. And we don't realize it. So
it's probably a conversation best had sooner than later. That's
yes.
Especially if it's a two-way thing. It's probably easier to work off if you've both got things to work on than if it's one person asking the other person to make a change. If you're both going to work as a team, and try to sort of facilitate the other in, even if it's just easing off these things a little bit, not necessarily being like, and that's that, we're both cutting everything off immediately.
Yeah.
Even if you're just like both going to take a bit of a chill from these things in order to facilitate each other in the relationship, I can only imagine that's an easier place to be coming from, rather than one partner saying to the other, you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do it together. I mean, if you find that the social activity or the extracurricular smoking, drug taking is getting in the way of a life that you want to live, have a conversation. If it's further than that, if life is getting in the way of your drinking and drug taking, okay, it's a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're the first one. So just, rein it in. Have one. I don't know actually how to help people who just party too hard, but I haven't got problems. I don't know how to help that person. I know how to help the alcoholics and drug addicts, because that's
the extremities.
I come from a world of surrender, of abstinence, of when enough is enough. It's that life isn't working. People who aren't there, but just need to change. I don't know how to help that. I'm the worst person. I don't drink. I'm the worst person to help you. I don't know how to tame it. Why? Because I don't drink at all. I can help you with complete abstinence and sobriety. I can't tell you how to tame your drinking, because trust me, if I knew a way that worked, I would have done it.
Do people ever say, do you want to drink? Do you want to, they do.
Yeah. They all the time. Yeah. But it's a social thing. People want you to drink because they like you. They want you to be socially with them. And I say, no, they go, but don't you want to have...
And they feel like you're not involved if you don't.
Oh, that's the best one. They go, oh, do you guys, but I want you to have a good time. And I said, trust me, I want to have a good time.
Yeah.
I want to have a good time too. That's why I'm not drinking.
Okay, last question. Yeah. I feel like I need my inhibitions lowered, like being tipsy, to ask for what I want in bed, particularly with one night stands. Is this bad? Well, for a start, we won't be labeling. It's not bad. Of course, it's not bad. I get it. Asking for what you want in a one night stand is a challenge anyway.
Yeah.
Especially if it's just that one time.
If you're planning to have to drink to get to the one night stand, to ask in the moment for what you want. Yeah, like you said, you're going to be nervous anyway. You don't need to be drunk to be nervous to ask, by the way, I really like this. Could you do that? Or make a joke of it. Find a way to sneak it in. That's a euphemism. Double entendre. But I find another way.
Love when you have to explain them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. Don't be afraid to ask. Do you know what I mean? If it's something, I just ask outright. And it's really a question for you, Coin, more than me. Because you do the Sex on the Beach podcast about confident talking. Just try and have the conversation. Try and know how to have the drink first.
I mean, I think it's quite, to be fair, like the fact that even if you're tipsy, if you're asking or telling someone what you want on a one night stand, then props to you anyway. Because I've had a load of one night stands where I've just been like, well, this is just going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then especially if I know I'm not going to have sex with that person again, I'm just kind of like, I'll leave it to the experience. So I'm kind of like, and you're not saying drunk, you're saying tipsy, which I understand. It just takes the edge off. If you are actually like able to be telling one night stands what you want in bed, then congrats for being there already, because a lot of people will not actually start telling people what they want in bed until they are further into a sexual relationship with them.
And I think I should make something clear. We have this whole conversation. I've got to make something very clear. I am not anti-drink. I don't think that if you drink, you have a problem in any way, shape, or form at all. We do live in a society where most people are fine. Mm-hmm. You know, most people can have a few drinks and have healthy lives and sexual encounters and all that stuff. I'm only speaking from the experience for people who it's become a self-destructive element of their lives, sex lives, minds, hearts, souls. That's the only part I can speak to. Like I said, I cannot. If somebody says, "Oh, I need a few drinks to feel tipsy," to do that, do you go on then? If that makes you feel better, if you're still compos mentis and can consent and have a lovely time, go for it. Do you know what I mean? If that helps, there's no problem in that. There's no shame in that. It's I need to be blackout drunk to have sex and not remember anything with partners I don't know, wake up covered in blood in the streets. That is the person I'm talking to. They are the people that I'm like, if you're at that stage, that's the conversation I'm having with. But other than that, I'm not demonizing everybody who has a gin and tonic before sex.
And I think if you're slightly tipsy when you have a one night stand and you are finding the confidence to tell sexual partners what you want, the sort of like the more experience you have of that, you'll just start to feel more confident anyway. And then eventually maybe you won't need to feel tipsy. But I'm like I'm certainly not anti feeling tipsy or being drunk whilst having sex, you know. And as long as you are still in a space where you are able to adequately give honest consent, you know, and you are aware, I really think that's all that matters. And I think that it takes different people different ways to develop their confidence. And if this is like a new thing for you, then it might just be that a few one night stands you are a bit tipsy and you're finding your way with talking sexually. I mean, I would also like, this is people going to be like, what is she talking about? But I always think if there is something that you want to become confident saying to someone, then literally you have to just practice saying it, because you just get used to the words. Because even before I started this podcast, there was sort of like certain things that I knew I was going to have to say that I thought that is nerve-wracking to say like publicly on air, that like so many people are going to listen to. And I just sort of started like saying it. So it just felt like natural vocabulary for me, so that by the time I came to start recording it, I didn't feel nervous to say it anymore. It was just like something I found it easy to say. And I didn't just wake up at 16, like have my sexual debut and then start telling everyone what I wanted in bed freely and confidently. Like it's a learning curve. Like it takes a long time to get there. And you'll learn things from different sexual partners. You'll be like, oh, I like that. I don't like that. And you want in bed will keep changing anyway.
And what we were saying from before as well, just remind yourself of time. If you go, I'm nervous to talk to my partner about this and ask yourself why. Why am I nervous? I'm ashamed. Why are you ashamed?
Right, absolutely.
I've learned to be ashamed from a society that has taught women especially to shame wanting their needs. Yeah. So there you go. That should just put an end to where they goes, okay, I've got nothing to be ashamed about. That's it. Just remind yourself that the feelings you have are learnt feelings drilled into you to make you feel that way. That's done. It's been done on purpose.
And also just stop giving yourself a hard time.
Stop giving yourself a hard time.
Like there's literally, you're fine to get tipsy and have a one night stand and tell someone what you want in bed. Like that's fine. You should literally, I'm sad that you have to ask, is that bad? Like that's such like a huge label to put on something bad. Yeah.
Because
is it good? Is it bad? It's just, it is what it is. It's not a label. It just, that's how you are living
because it's drilled
right now
into us.
Right.
It's so ingrained with us to carry shame with our wants and needs as women. Who am I talking like I am a woman? Women are ingrained to take, shame. Do you know what I mean? There's a massive thing. So do not have any fear in that.
It's why I've reclaimed the word sket, because it just means a woman who likes to have sex. And I'm like, and what? So I would just say, stop giving yourself such a hard time. It might build your confidence. I'm sure you'll get to a point where you don't need your inhibitions lowered, but just enjoy your sexual experiences as long as you are aware, able to give consent and able to communicate with awareness. Don't ever want people to be in positions where they're unsafe. Just stop giving yourself a hard time. I can't tell you how many one-night stands I've had whilst tipsy, if that makes you feel better. You're not alone. Not alone even with me. That's something I can that's a topic I can comfortably speak on. So yeah, just don't give yourself a hard time. It's not bad. Of course it's not bad. And you will keep finding and growing your sexual confidence as you move through life. It's all good. I think the thing is as well, we start looking at any kind of alcohol as the devil, you know what I mean? Rather than being like, it's perfectly okay to have a couple of glasses of wine.
Yeah.
We can't start gatekeeping.
No. Life is about balance. There are people, you could be, and this is the thing, and everyone's balance is different.
It's different.
You could drink one glass of wine a night, one glass of wine, whatever. However, if that singular glass of wine is ruining your life, is becoming the be all or end all or whatever, and it's the only thing you look forward to, it's the thing, if you need it, if you would run over a child to get it, then your balance is off.
Yeah.
That's where you're at. Everyone's balance is different. Only you can know when your equilibrium, when your center and your sense of self is out of whack. Only you can know that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know that people like me don't know that their equilibrium is off and their balance is gone until they are lying face down in the dirt, wishing they were dead. Yeah. Because they are fighting it. Most people aren't like that. Most people are okay. And you can have a nice time. So don't worry about it too much.
Well, Sam, thank you so much. I know that you were nervous, but there we go. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining today. And if you wouldn't mind just telling everyone your social media handles, that would be amazing.
Yes. So my name is Sam Cassidy on social media. On Instagram, I don't really do Facebook, and I don't do Twitter, and I don't do TikTok. But I can be found on Instagram as just Sam Cassidy. So you can find me that way. And, last things, if anybody does have any worries regarding addiction, substance abuse, there is help. You can find it online. You can find Alcoholics Anonymous if you Google it, and you can find a meeting anywhere in your area near where you are, all over the country. They go on all the time, all throughout the day. If you have got worries, just maybe check one out.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking. As I said, from the speed of the questions, I feel like it was obviously a necessary topic. And I really do appreciate you being willing to speak publicly about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
I am so grateful to Sam for joining me today to share his experiences in such an open and vulnerable way. I can understand that this may be a difficult episode for some people to listen to, depending on their own individual and personal circumstances. So please do remember, this is one person and one experience. But if you are experiencing anything similar, please do consider reaching out for help, because it is out there for you when you are ready. But I can only hope that beginning to open up these conversations might begin to help just the tiniest bit. Because as I want to remind everyone on every episode, whatever you are going through, you are never alone. I hope to see you back here next week for the season 1 finale of Sex on the Peach. But for now, thanks for coming. Thank you for tuning in to Sex on the Peach today, and I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find and follow me on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok at Sex on the Peach Cast, and you can also get in touch with me at sexonthepeachcast@gmail.com. Please do continue to like, share, subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and I'll see you next week. Love, Peach.